Thanks for listening to another episode of the Unlockable podcast. Hannah and I talk about a lot of great games on this show, but we thought it might be fun to look at some not so great games this time. In this episode, we took 5 of the worst games by Metacritic standards on the Nintendo GameCube, researched them, played them, and gave our thoughts on them. Do they deserve these lousy scores? Let's find out. Welcome back to the Unlockable podcast. My name's Christian, and I'm joined as always by the Game Girl Advance SP herself.
Howdy, partner. It's been a hot minute.
Hannah, when is the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out?
You know, I'm gonna guess a June release. That's my guess.
Even though the rumor says May, the latest rumor says May 19th or something?
Yeah, no, for sure not.
June is very close. I mean, that's pretty exciting.
Well, could you imagine the summertime? You know, lots of kids have off, so what are their parents going to do besides stick them in front of another screen?
Lord knows they're not going to get on a bike and go outside, do some rollerblading.
Nope.
I will not be on a bike in this summer, that's for sure.
I'll be on my Switch too, let's be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm getting excited. We're getting close. We're like a week away, maybe 8 days away from the reveal trailer or whatever trailer it's about to be.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I don't know if it's just going to be, like, the hardware. They're going to go in depth about that. Well, they have to, obviously. But, like, are they going to show off some software, like what we can look forward to for the first year? I don't know. It's all mystery.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Are you going to get up early? Yeah, you're going to get up early. You're going to watch it live.
Oh my god.
Well, for you, it's only like 9 a.m.
Well, yeah, but I will certainly have to set an alarm for that. But of course I am. You think I want to find out the news from Twitter at 3 hours later? Absolutely not.
I think my friend and I are actually going to do a live stream on his channel whenever we're watching it. So that'll be cool.
That's exciting. Yeah.
For some reason, there's been like rumors that this week we're going to have a direct.
What?
I don't know if those were jokes, but like people are saying that there's going to be a surprise direct this Thursday or something that, I don't know, could showcase Nintendo Switch 1 software. I don't know. It sounds ridiculous.
That is a little crazy, but honestly, Nintendo, they do whatever, so hard to predict.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see, like, what is still coming out for the Switch 1 and for how long are they going to be supporting it. You know, there's a massive base of people. We've already talked about it. We had a whole Switch 2 episode, but there's a lot of people that will have a Switch 1. They're not just going to drop everybody as soon as the next one drops.
No, certainly not, especially when they're still selling them. Like, you can go to Walmart right now and still buy one.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to make it very, very clear where the line stands between Switch 2 games and Switch 1 games, because you know people are going to be confused.
Yeah. No, they learned their lesson with the Wii U for sure.
Well, I hope so. Jeez. Let's not have a repeat of that, please.
Let's talk about some bad games, Hannah. I think that this was probably your idea. We had in the notes page the episode topics ideas. What are some, like, or we said that we could do like the top 5 games on a system. We could do the bottom 5 games on a system. So what we did for this episode was we went to Metacritic. We sorted by the worst rated games. Well, I mean, if we were to do an episode that was like the top 5 games, I just think that would probably be overdone a lot. You know, everybody's talked about the best 5 GameCube games and I mean, especially for Nintendo consoles, like this, it's all first party stuff, and it's always like Mario, Zelda.
Yep.
But you know, we sorted this list by lowest scores, and I think, I wrote some notes down. Let me pull those up. They have only like 452 GameCube games actually have Metascores. In North America, there were 550 plus GameCube games, and you know, in Europe and Japan, there are a bunch of other exclusives. So there's a lot of stuff missing from Metacritic. But out of these 452 games, we sorted by lowest, and we found some that we thought would be interesting to talk about. So these are not the worst 5 GameCube games, but they are certainly some of them. So we'll share the Metascores as we go through the 5 games today. But just real quick to talk about the 5 worst games according to Metacritic. 448 is Jeremy McGrath's Supercross, or Supercross World, whatever. Published by Acclaim. I just assumed this was like another like good. Every time I see this game, I just assumed it was like another good like I don't know, extreme sports game. You know, you've got your Tony Hawks galore, you've got your SSX Trickies and stuff, and I just assumed this. I never thought it would be that bad. It has like a 36 on Metacritic. I assume you've never played this one.
No, absolutely not. I've never even heard of it. But even if I would have seen it, it'd be like, yeah, it's just like one of those ATV Off-Road Fury or those mountain bike kind of deals.
Exactly.
Guess not.
Next up, 449, Bad Boys Miami Takedown. This is a movie tie-in game based on the Will Smith movie. Like, I don't know. It didn't look that bad, but again, didn't play it.
Mm-mm.
This one is very well known. Batman Dark Tomorrow. People hate this game. It has the last one, Bad Boys, had a 35 on Metacritic. Batman Dark Tomorrow has a 29.
Youch.
This one's cool because it like comes with something. Like as far as a collector goes, like I think it comes with a comic book inside or something.
Oh,
so that's fun.
That's neat.
And then another DC comic game immediately after. This one's weird because it's 2003. There's no Aquaman animated series or movie or anything coming out. They're just like, yeah, let's do a freaking Aquaman video game for the Nintendo GameCube. This one has a 27 on Metacritic.
God, not worth it.
And then finally, the worst game on the GameCube by Metacritic is Charlie's Angels. I don't even have anything to say about that. It was published by Ubisoft, obviously a tie-in to a popular license of the time. I don't know if I've ever seen a Charlie's Angels movie. Probably not.
No. And yeah, certainly not something you'd expect to find on a GameCube for children. But, you know, neither with Bad Boys, though. I mean, that one's also not super PG, but okay.
Bad Boys is rated M. Charlie's Angels is rated T. Even Aquaman was rated T.
Oh, dang.
I don't think I said it. Charlie's Angels got a 23 on Metacritic.
That's basically just like use the disc as a coaster at that point, right? A 23.
It's less than a quarter of the way there. That's pretty bad.
Ouch.
So this is interesting stuff. I mean, obviously I've never played any of these, but being a set collector, they're all on my shelf, ready to be played someday, but not by me.
This episode was like so uniquely for you because I obviously don't own any of these, but you're like, yeah, it's sitting right there on my shelf. Paid $7 for it.
So the 5 games that we chose to talk about this time around, we're going to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! The False-Bound Kingdom, Space Raiders, Disney's PK Out of the Shadows, Donald Duck game. We've got Universal Studios Theme Park Adventures. I did a lot of digging on this one. I did a lot of digging on all of them, but this one in particular is just hated. I mean, I had no idea, but it's just a very popular meme game. It's like one of the worst games ever made.
It's awesome.
And then Tetris Worlds. So Tetris Worlds, I guess I can wait till we get to it, but it's just like, it's Tetris. Why would it be so bad? But
worse than any other Tetris game.
So we chose these 5 from like, I don't know, the bottom 20, 25 games on Metacritic. We're going to talk about their Metascore. Okay, did you get a chance to play any of these? I know you have Yu-Gi-Oh!
I do have Yu-Gi-Oh, but I didn't get a chance to play it now, unfortunately.
Okay. I actually did. I didn't plan on playing all of these. I ended up playing all of these. Even last night, I popped in Tetris Worlds, which is one that I grew up with. Just wanted to be refreshed on it. But yeah, I did have the time to at least play each of them for like 30, 45 minutes. Watch some gameplay as well for some of them. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about some bad GameCube games, quote unquote.
Let's go for it.
We're going to start with Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, we like Yu-Gi-Oh! Hannah's a big Yu-Gi-Oh! Gal.
Love it.
This title was developed and published by Konami. Came out in November of 2003. It's a GameCube exclusive. What was the Metascore, Hannah?
Metascore was 44 out of 100. So still failing. Still not great.
I think as we go into this, something I want to kind of keep an open mind on here is that these games, or like these review scores, are like 20 years old, and I think that maybe a 46 today or whatever, a 44 today might be like totally different from a 44 20 years ago. I don't know if that's true, but I just feel like some of these games get really bad scores for just being like basic, average, totally playable games.
Yep.
Whereas today, like, a game would have to be broken and a glitchy, disgusting mess to receive a score like that, I feel like. Like, IGN just doesn't go around handing out 4s, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's definitely worth mentioning, especially, like, I looked at a lot of, like, the users' reviews and the user scores, and I even watched, when I watched gameplay of this, I watched it with this guy's commentary, and he was just, like, gushing about how much he loves this game. Now, he could absolutely be, you know, the only person who loves this game, right? He's an anomaly, but, like, it seemed like it had good qualities, and if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you like these kind of strategy games, then you're probably gonna like it. It's nothing to write home about, but it's still playable. 44 in my mind is, like, not even worth the money, might as well pitch it in the trash. You know what I'm saying?
I think that maybe the scores that we get these days are a little too generous, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you on that. This game in particular, I feel like the story is probably pretty interesting. I was like, this was the last one I played. I actually streamed 4 of these games a few weeks ago, and this was the last one that was on my list, and I was like, I'm just going to mash through the story. I'll let Hannah tell me about it whenever we do the podcast.
Yep.
But it does seem pretty interesting, so why don't you take us into the story?
Yeah, I can do that. So, one thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is it's kind of obviously like the same central story. It follows some of the same characters. Sometimes you're introduced to new ones, but like not really. So this one basically is you can choose either to follow Seto Kaiba, which is like he's not evil, but he's like morally gray, kind of like jockey kind of guy, rich, like philanthropist, Iron Man kind of, you know, before he took like his cool turn into being good. Or Yugi, that's like the main characters that you follow. You can either choose between those 2 stories, or later in the game you can also unlock Joey Wheeler's story, which is like, he's like the golden retriever of the series. But anyway, the stories kind of interconnect at some points, but when you beat one storyline, the other one becomes harder, so the monsters are higher, the enemies are harder, all that kind of stuff. And there's even an additional villain in the harder modes, which I thought was super cool. It didn't really seem like GameCube games had not infinite, but like replayability like this one has. Like Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, every card duel is different, and I think they kind of tried to incorporate that with these kind of battles, so I thought that was pretty fun. Joey's story is actually a prequel to Yugi's story in the game, so you can play Yugi's story, you can play Kaiba's story, and then you can go back and get Joey's story, which like takes place before. The story's not super involved, and it actually is one that is kind of followed in the show a little bit. It just involves the characters being invited to test a new virtual reality game, which is pretty cool. But then they become trapped in it and must escape by defeating the enemies. And then also the rogue game designer who decides that he wants to control all 3 Egyptian god cards, which if you've played any of the games or watched the show, you know that those are like the coolest cards in the game. They're based off of like, well, actual Egyptian gods in the lore, and they're super powerful. It's super hard to take them down if you're in a battle against them. And so it's like, that's like the ultimate card that you want. And if you have all 3, oh my god, you're like the coolest duelist master ever. So the story's not super intense, it's not super involved, and it's something that they cover in the show, but it's still interesting enough that you get to see it from like 3 different kind of perspectives, which I thought was neat.
It sounds pretty cool. You're getting sucked into like a game essentially.
Yeah.
You know, it's not canon obviously, and you're not playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card game, but I think that it sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely play it. I mean, of all the games on this list, besides Tetris, because, I mean, it's just Tetris, this one is the most interesting to me. In fact, I bought it, which means a lot. I don't buy a lot of GameCube games just for fun. But the review of the guy I was watching it, he was like, this is awesome. Like, if you're going to play a strategy game and you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is for you.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are going to be at the end of this. But like, let's get into the gameplay a little bit. It is a real-time strategy RPG.
Yep.
Which means you are commanding armies that are led by, in this game, marshals. Each army has 3 like Yu-Gi-Oh monsters that you'd recognize from the game.
Yep.
Each monster has various stats: attack, defense, health points, etc. You lead your forces on the ground from point A to point B. You fight enemies along the way, and when you meet up with an enemy along the way, it goes into a turn-based battle. My experience, my short time playing it, it is very slow. I think,
Yeah.
I don't even have I probably don't have any experience with this genre. So I can't say like how slow or fast it is compared to other games, but man, just like telling my troops where to go and watching them crawl along the screen in real time was like really freaking boring. Yeah. But if there was like a speed up button, I think that would help a lot. Or just skip to next battle even. But that's just me being impatient, I guess. It was very slow. So you capture enemy bases, you get resources to upgrade your armies. The game is like 25 hours minimum. I was looking online. Like,
whoa.
You can make it like a 60-hour game if you're going to go all the way in. Anything to add there?
Not really, besides that, like, the monsters that you collect, they usually, like, even in the traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game, they have attack and defense, but this game they also have health, is added to each of the monsters, and the stars in this game work differently. So usually in the card game, depending on the number of stars, is kind of like how you get that monster onto the field. And instead, for this game, it refers to how many, like, attacks that monster can have. So like the higher stars you have, an 8-star monster can have, I don't know if it's up to 8 or if it's like 3 or 4, but like they can do like multiple attacks depending on how powerful of a monster they are. Also in the card game, the monsters have like attributes like dark, all that kind of stuff, earth, light. But in this one they have like different types. So there's walking types, flying types, and swimming types. All have their own advantages and disadvantages when it comes to movement. Like movement speed, or like in terms of weakness to other kinds of monsters, which I thought was interesting. And then some of the marshals that you collect, like the generals, or whatever you want to say, the ones that control the monsters, have different abilities, which I think is super cool. Sometimes like boost defense, or they boost attack, or they move faster, or whatever it is. So I think they did kind of a really interesting job of carrying over some of the more traditional elements by also making it more like a strategy RPG. So that was kind of interesting. I don't know. It's whatever you like, I guess.
I mean, like you said a few minutes ago, if this was my genre and I was a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, like, I'd be all in. I don't see what is a 44 about this game other than it was just slow. Like, that's the only real negative thing I have to say about it. And I feel like if you're playing a strategy RPG, you're probably in it for a slow gameplay. You probably know what to expect.
Yeah. It is, when I was looking at like reviews and stuff, like actual user reviews, I think it pissed off 2 main categories of people, and I guess maybe I would have fit myself into one of those at the time. Yu-Gi-Oh fans, they just love, myself included, just like super traditional Yu-Gi-Oh card games. You give us a cool story, you give us some new characters, you just give us that basic game, or that card gameplay that we know. We love it. Doesn't matter what it is. So I think it kind of pissed off those fans because they're like, we've been waiting for a new game. It's this. Like, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! What the hell are you talking about? And then I think it also pissed off like real-time strategy players because they were like, what is this bastardization of like our favorite genre? Who are these people? Who are these characters? And why is it so damn slow? So I think it kind of pissed off those kind of people. Basically, the critics just said that the gameplay was slow, like you already said. The story was bad and super uninteresting. It didn't like add anything. They're like, okay, cool, I can move my monster from here to there, but like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I taking down all these bad guys? So it seemed very unmotivating.
Well, that's I guess that's eye-opening a little bit. I'm glad I'm not the only one complaining about the speed.
No.
But yeah, definitely divisive. Definitely some people that enjoyed the game. I did write down this, like every Yu-Gi-Oh game, they included TCG cards. So maybe you are familiar with these. It came with Zoa, Metal Zoa, and the Goblin Fan trap card.
Yes, I do know those ones. Oh, I did want to say, while I was watching gameplay, though, when you're playing these traditional card games, like, it was really cool to see the 3D, like, animation of the enemies actually attacking, because that's not really something you see in the traditional card games. So that was kind of really cool. It seemed like they spent a decent amount of time on that, making it worthwhile to see how these characters and these monsters kind of move, how their, attack sets would look like. So that was fun.
I guess Konami expected the people, like you said, that like the card game to like have a Game Boy Advance, because there were like a dozen card game based
So many
Yu-Gi-Oh titles on the GBA, and all it seems like there's a PS2 game, a GameCube game, an Xbox game. They're all like spin-offs, none of them are traditional TCG. I don't know how the other ones reviewed, but I don't know. It seems like they were just like trying to take advantage of the hardware, trying to put in some 3D aspects and just like go beyond just the card game because they could, maybe.
Yep. It's an experimental thing for sure.
Right. Anything else?
Nope. I think that's it.
Needs a fast forward button is the last thing I wrote for that one.
Well, when it gets remastered or ported to the Switch for the later days collection, maybe they'll add that.
You bought the early days collection.
I did. Ugh, I know, I caved. It was so coincidental because I went over to my friend's house and her boyfriend is like super big on Yu-Gi-Oh! And he brought out his cards, and then I got bit by the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bug again, and I was like, well, I gotta bring out all my cards, I gotta make all these decks, and then it coincidentally lined up with Early Days collection, and I was like, well, damn it, now I gotta buy that one. And I did, and it's glorious, and I'm glad I did. I love it.
And it came with like one card, right? Just one?
Yeah, so it was either one of two cards, or like two different versions.
It's
yeah,
like a
it only
harpy
came with one.
feather or something?
Yeah, look at you!
Yeah.
Harpy's Feather Duster. Yep.
Yeah, I need to get
Pretty
that
sweet.
game when it's on sale. I need to keep an eye out.
I know, I thought it would drop in price by now, but no. Still 50.
Let's move into Space Raiders. So, the front of this game, I actually have it right here because I was taking some notes earlier. It says, from the creators of Space Invaders. Here we have Space Raiders for the Nintendo GameCube. It is, at least in North America, exclusive to the GameCube. In Europe and Japan, it actually came out on PS2 as well.
Yep.
So, tell me about this game a little bit. Background, release date, all that.
Sure. So it is known as Space Invaders Invasion Day outside of the US, which I think is a better name. Because, like, if I had looked at Space Raiders, I would have been like, okay, yeah, sure. I wouldn't have known it was related to Space Invaders at all.
Exactly.
They did themselves a disservice on that one. Or, maybe it was a good thing because the game sucks. I don't know. Hindsight's 2020. It was released in 2004 on the GameCube. Released on the PS2 outside of the US, which is interesting. Developed by Taito. Published by Mastiff in the US. Also responsible for Space Raiders Revolution for the DS in 2005. They also published that weird fight crab game for the Switch that everyone was obsessed about. You remember that one?
Oh, Mastiff is still around?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're still bebopping around. Like you already said, it's a remake of the original Space Invaders game from 1978. It turns the classic surface-to-air shooting action of the arcade game to a third-person shooter, for better or for worse, we'll say.
Did it really say remake when you were researching it?
No.
Oh, okay. It's, I don't know, it's definitely not a remake, but it's, yeah, let's talk about it. The story, first of all, this game got a 40 on Metacritic, but let's talk about the story. There's an alien invasion. You get this opening cutscene, it's kind of dramatic, and this saucer appears in the sky and just starts bombing the city underneath it. And then you see these three characters who you can play as, Justin, Ashley, and Najee, go into the city where there are supposedly no survivors left. And then the back of the box is pretty epic. It reads, a young man left alive after invading aliens kill his friends. A camera woman searching for her missing boyfriend. A policeman who wants his partner back. In their quest for loved ones and revenge, these three people face an enemy of unimaginable power. ...
Dang. Dramatic.
And that's about it. The game drops off from there, and it's all downhill from there. I mean, it's just...
Oh, man.
Alright, I'll paint the picture. Everyone knows
Yeah.
Space Invaders. It's just like this two-dimensional top-down game. You've got your little guy at the bottom who you move left to right, and you shoot the spaceships above. That's Space Invaders. It's great.
Right.
People loved it. People still
Nailed
love
it.
Now, if you take that and you change it into 3 dimensions, so now you've got these aliens in front of you, and you change the spaceship at the bottom. Your main character is now a human being with a gun. So you back the camera up a little bit, and now you've got this game. It is the exact same gameplay, basically. You are literally running left to right with your main character, and you're shooting waves of enemies, aliens that are coming at you. And you look at the back of the box, you look at the screenshots and stuff, maybe you even see a trailer, and it looks like some 3D run and gun game, like, oh man, this could be as cool as Contra or something.
Yep.
And it's just, you start playing, and you quickly realize, after 5 minutes, that it's just left to right gameplay.
Yep.
You never get to move.
No.
I was very turned on to this game for a minute, and as like 5 to 10 minutes went by, I'm in this alleyway in an urban city, and I'm just like shooting aliens behind trash cans and stuff, and moving left to right, and I'm like, oh, this is the whole game. This is it.
That's it. And then the boss fight, which is just kind of a slightly bigger alleyway with a bigger boss, but still just left to right.
So it's bad. I mean, it's it's not broken.
No.
It plays fine.
Right.
But holy crap, is it just the most basic, boring, like... They took an arcade game, a single-screen arcade game from, we'll say, 30 years, 25 years prior at this point, and they put it on a console where you have things like The Wind Waker, these open-world grand adventures, like, just... You put it on the same console that all these 3D giant games are coming out, and it's just like you move left to right and you shoot aliens, and they're like, oh, it's gonna be great, it's gonna sell millions, just like 1978 Space Invaders did.
I feel like it would have crushed on the Nintendo 64 because it really doesn't look that great on the GameCube, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, this feels like a bad N64 game. I agree with you. It seems like a mediocre N64 game, and somehow it made it to the wrong platform. What year was it again? When did it come out?
2004.
Oh my gosh, that's like a late GameCube game.
Yeah.
I
mean, they really didn't. They just made the 2D game 3D, but like the gameplay is still 2D, which is crazy. Still left to right. They were almost there. They almost had it.
Yeah, it's like an hour or 2 tops. This whole game, like,
really,
and they give you a score. Like, yeah, they give you a score like it's gonna be some game that you replay and try to get your best high score. It's crazy. So you're basically armed with a gun, and you also have grenades. You run left to right to dodge out of the way of the stupid bullets coming for you. And then, like, the one layer that they added is you can, like, press L or R to roll out of the way.
Nice. Nailed it.
It's not even, like, oh, on this level you get to run up and down instead of left to right. They didn't even go that far. It is the most repetitive gameplay where you're mashing the A button for an hour or two tops.
Can you jump?
No, you cannot.
Oh. Youch.
I don't think you can.
That's rough. Well, in
graphics,
my research... Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
I did look that there's 2 different modes, story and survival mode. Story mode is for regular gameplay, but survival mode has no continues, and you can play 2-player, which I thought was cool. So, they tried.
Yeah, I think that 2-player co-op is still not going to make the game any fun. It might make it a little more bearable just laughing at it with your friend.
Yeah.
Graphics are not great. Like, they're fine for the time. Music is the one thing where I would say it was actually pretty solid. Like, it felt like really good action music for an alien invasion. Perfect atmosphere setting up there. But, man, I don't have much more to say about this game. It deserves probably less than the 40 it got. It's
so funny. They had everything to make it great. They had an interesting enough story, right? There's 3 different characters you can follow. And then it was a 2D game into a 3D game. They had cool aliens. I thought the designs looked cool. The enemy variety was different enough, you know? The aliens would attach to the people and they'd be like zombified. I thought that was neat. Like, the story was there. They had the building blocks to make something decently well, you know? And they didn't.
That was just a bad idea all around.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think we're done with that one.
Well, I do have a fun fact here for you, because this is interesting. A port of the original game is included in this game, but can only be unlocked by a cheat code. Why do that?
Cheat codes were so popular back then, you know? It was like early internet days, and I don't know. It was just like, you expected games that weren't Nintendo to have cheat codes in them, you know?
Yeah. And then you just spread them around to the playground. Hey, I heard if you do up, down, left, right, you get to unlock this cool thing.
That is cool, though. I mean, if Yu-Gi-Oh! Gets a 44, this deserves less than a 40. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's a common theme with these.
All right. You ready to move on?
Yes, sir. This one I am most interested in, because this is what I watched you play when you were streaming it, and I was like, this looks fine.
Okay, good.
I don't understand.
Release date. This game came out in November of 2002. Developed by Ubisoft Casablanca. Published by Ubisoft. I couldn't find any development history. It's just not a lot of stuff out there for, like, the history of PK on the GameCube, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
Tell me the Metascore. Tell me about the story.
So it got a 49 out of 100 was the critic score, which is almost passing. Well, it's almost failing halfway. Let's say that. Passing for me is at 50. I'm like, okay, if something gets a 50, then maybe it's worth picking up. But I got a 7 out of 10 for users. So clearly it wasn't as hated by the people who actually played it than the critics, you know? Yeah. The main critique was that it was too easy and the levels and gameplay were way too repetitive. But they said it was much better than some of the other games that featured Donald Duck as the main character, which is the only one I know is Quackshot, and I thought that one was like the best Donald Duck game.
That's the N64?
I think so. Yes?
Funny enough, there is another Donald Duck game on the GameCube. I think it is called Goin' Quackers.
Goin' Quackers. Nice. Love that. Okay. So for story, really not much for story. I'm sure you could probably say it a little better. But anyway, Donald Duck works as a security guard in the Duck Lair Tower. But one day he falls asleep and dreams of Daisy and his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, that they're all teasing him. So he finds himself wishing he was a superhero. And an AI called One agrees to help him and then he is granted the identity of PK. He gets a cool, futuristic weapon, a new voice, and a whole new look, and he has to stop an attack on Earth as his new identity of PK, which stands for... I don't remember.
I wrote it down because it's not a normal person word. Paperinik. I have no idea what that means.
Nope. Not a clue. So PK for short.
Um, yeah, it's fine. Story is nothing crazy. It's a freaking Disney game. Who cares? I played about 2 levels, and I will say that it is all very generic.
Yeah.
Did you also feel that?
I felt that, but like, I mean, it wasn't super Disneyfied. Like, I like games, especially with like these big companies or whatever, that actually feel uniquely them. Like, someone actually watched Donald Duck or like watched Mickey Mouse back in the day and like incorporated some of those cool aspects into it. It did not feel like that kind of game, but it didn't also feel like that bad. Like, I
Right.
feel like Disney is so aimed towards kids. I feel like this was a game towards kids, you know? So I felt like it was good for them.
You could have swapped this. You could have swapped the couple of Disney characters that showed up with like any other plot, any
Yeah.
other story, any other characters, because that's how generic it was. It was
Darn.
very far removed from like the Disney World and Donald Duck and everything. None of the gameplay. I mean, it's his alter ego. He's a superhero, so I guess it's not really supposed to be connected to Donald Duck a whole lot. But yeah,
Convenient.
when I say it's generic, it is an action 3D platformer. You are exploring different linear levels. You are picking up weapon upgrades and double jump and all that crap. You're fighting off enemies as they appear, and you're doing some platforming. I mean, that doesn't sound bad because it's not. That's what you'd
Mm-hmm.
expect. But they didn't do anything to make it above average. There are some optional collectibles in the levels. I didn't see any reason to collect them. I didn't. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention a whole lot as I was playing. Maybe you get some more upgrades, or I don't know. The combat is super weak. You lock onto an enemy, you dodge his bullets, and you just mash the one attack button to kill the enemy.
Nice. Easy peasy.
Exactly. I mean, this would be a great first game for somebody, but anybody that's played any other 3D platformer is like, this is too easy, this is too boring. Um, I mentioned this on the stream, but this whole game is very reminiscent of Rayman 2,
Mm.
especially that combat I just talked about. Like, it was almost identical, the way that you could just lock onto somebody, mash the one attack button, and dodge from bullets coming at you, which unfortunately is like bad in Rayman 2. I love that game, but I have to admit that is like really boring combat in that game. Um, there's like this hovering ability, and you can hover in some areas of the game, of the Donald Duck game PK, very similar to Rayman 2. Um, yeah, just I was getting a lot of similarities, and they're both developed by Ubisoft, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of the same team had gone to work on PK as well.
Hmm.
There are occasionally some fun gizmos to mess around with, solve like a very easy puzzle. Um, yeah, the game controls very well. The camera was pretty good, I remember. Um, it's just a decent game. I don't have anything good or bad to say about it. The graphics and the soundtrack were both pretty great. I like the art style, kind of like
Yeah.
a cell shaded almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Soundtrack was bopping though. I mean, it was a really good soundtrack. You have any input?
While I was researching, did you happen to see or encounter any scientists, captured scientists, along your
I don't.
travels?
I don't think so.
Well, apparently, you can encounter these. There's 6 per level, and you have to collect 40 of them. 40 of these scientists must be rescued within a certain amount of time to access the final mothership levels. So it's
Oh,
like, yeah, so it's like a collectible that you need to kind of get to the final levels, I guess. I guess the mothership level would be like the end level, or is it like a secret ending kind of deal? I wasn't sure. I didn't go that deep into it, but scientists, you gotta rescue them. Important.
I did see them. There was a timer that I had no idea why there was a timer on the screen,
Oh,
and it didn't give you a lot of input as to like what you needed to do, but
right.
they didn't look like scientists. I can tell you that.
Oh, well, whoops.
Interesting. Um, I played a couple levels, watched a little gameplay. It is unfortunately suffers from being just average. Is it worth like a 49? I don't know. Not by today's standards. Today, I feel like this game would get a 6 out of 10. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know. Maybe it gets worse later on, but I doubt it.
That sounds like you loved it, especially if it's like Rayman 2.
For whatever reason, Donald Duck does sound like a regular human being. He just like is a white man throughout the whole game. You know, it's just he doesn't have
Nice.
his typical Donald Duck voice. But everyone's fully voice acted. I think that something that sets games like, you know, really good platformers apart from this, it's like filling a world with people and characters. You know, there was no one to talk to. There wasn't anyone that would make you be like, oh, I love that character. That's my favorite character in the game. It was just like you had your boss, you had your AI guy, and you had white man Donald Duck here, and that was it.
Bummer. Would you have liked it better if they had slapped Rayman on it and did some Rayman characters? Would you be talking differently if that were the case?
Oh man, we'll never know the answer to that, but that's an interesting question.
Rayman 2.5.
I'd be like, guys, it's not that bad. It's just a good game, you know. It's just
It's just
average.
this Rayman. Yeah. Running around, jumping like he does.
Fun facts. You got any fun facts?
No fun facts. There wasn't really much about this game at all, which is crazy. It's a Disney
Check
game.
this out.
Ooh.
This is, what do I say? This game is based on Italian comics. So, like, Donald Duck's alter ego, Paper and Nick, is actually from an Italian comic. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. Like, officially licensed Disney comic?
Yeah.
Italian? Oh, well, hot damn, I didn't know that.
So the European title, ours is called PK Out of the Shadows. It doesn't say Donald Duck. It doesn't say, I think it does say Disney. But in Europe, they called it Donald Duck PK. So, slight difference there.
See, when I think PK, I think People Killer, which is not really what you want to associate with Disney.
What?
So.
Is that a common
PK?
abbreviation?
Yeah, People Killer in like MMOs or RPGs. Yeah, man, if you're a PK, stay away from them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I had 46 written down. Maybe it got a 49 on PS2. I think it only got a 46 on the GameCube.
Dang.
Which, you know, how different could the two versions be?
Donald Duck Player Killer. Yep.
People Killer.
People Killer. Well, Player Killer too works.
This next one's pretty bad. Why don't you take us into the next one?
The next one is Universal Studios Theme Park Adventure, which is just a horrible title. Honestly, would you search this up? This is funny. When I searched this up into Google, the first results was not the game. It was actually like going to the Universal theme park, which I thought was hilarious.
It doesn't help that Google knows your exact location and you're like close to Universal.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you want to take a trip to Universal? Well, I am soon, but anyway, it's known as Universal Studios Japan Adventure, which is a fun fact. I didn't know about this game. I always assume, for whatever reason, it's the one in my backyard, right? The one in Orlando. It's not. It's actually the Japan studio, which I thought was cool. Yeah. So, I mean, they're all basically the same, but they're a little bit different. It was developed by Naya Digital Works, and this is their only credited game for a reason, probably. I have no clue where they went, what they did, where those employees are now. I know nothing about Naya Digital Works. I don't know. Maybe they went defunct. Who knows?
I need to do an episode on Naya.
Yeah, discovering what happened to Naya. What happened to those poor employees after the worst game ever was published? Who knows? Published by Kemco, which is interesting. Came out in the GameCube 2001. It was a launch title for the system in Europe, which was crazy. I don't think that was necessarily meant to happen or was designed that way. It just, the European version came out much, much later. So it was just like, yeah, we have all of these titles for the GameCube that have already come out in Japan and the US. And so they just kind of launched with it. But youch. What a horrible, horrible title. It was a tie-in game or it was a game that was supposed to tie in with the opening of Universal Studios in Osaka. So that's pretty neato. Did they nail it? No, of course not.
Yeah, I would say that they discouraged a lot of people from going to Universal in Osaka.
Yeah. But I will say that, well, we'll talk about gameplay in a second, but like some of the things that they make you do is like so Japanese coded, it's crazy. It's like,
Well, I
yeah.
look forward to hearing what you think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Game has a 39 on Metascore. It is. I'll just spoil it right now. It is well deserved, and that's even a little high probably.
Yeah, I was about to say, only a couple points from the other games? No.
Yeah, if Space Raiders is 40, Universal Theme Park is about a 20.
Ouch.
Let's talk about it. So, first thing, Woody Woodpecker is in this game,
Yep.
and you mentioned that this game is published by Kemco. I don't know. I mean, okay, you've been to Universal. Do you ever see
Yep.
Woody Woodpecker over there?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know anything about, I know he had cartoons back in the day. I thought he was like part of the Looney Tunes, but I don't think that's the case. I think he was just like his own cartoon. Obviously, born in 96, don't have a lot of Woody Woodpecker exposure in my life, but I, Kemco seems to have had like the license to Woody Woodpecker because they also released a GBA Woody Woodpecker game. I don't know. It kind of surprised me to see him here in this game. But you're saying that's normal, so that's cool.
Well, I mean, hold on. Woody Woodpecker's not like walking around Universal in like a bird suit. I'll say that. But you can see like the advertisements and some of the stuff in posters. Same thing with some of the other characters in this one. They're like super proud of their legacy. So,
Okay.
they do have nods to him.
Well, he's in the introduction. He's the one who's helping you out, giving you tutorials. You're thrown right from the start into like a very realistic looking theme park with people walking around and buildings everywhere. You get to choose like your character that you get to play as. You're just like, you're basically choosing like generic kid number 1, 2, 3, 4. Like there's like 8 kids to pick from. And you really need the manual because Woody Woodpecker doesn't tell you a lot. He tells you some things, but that you will be walking around aimlessly. And I just don't feel like 5-year-olds in 2000 and what year is this game? Like 2003 or whatever?
2001.
Oh gosh, yeah, you said it was a launch title for one of the regions. Yeah, I don't feel like a lot of kids are reading the manual, even though they should be. And Woody Woodpecker could have helped them out a lot. Basically, there's a lot of tutorial that needed to be added to this game. Essentially,
Which is so crazy, because there's hardly like anything to do in it.
You get a stamp book, and you fill out your stamp book by writing the 8 or so attractions in the theme park. But you can't just get in line and ride a theme park attraction. You have to... This is what you're talking about. You have to pick up trash in the theme park in order to access the rides. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, it's just... you go around and you pick up trash and you put it in the trash cans. Which, I've never been to Japan, but like I've studied it a lot. They're like very, very clean people, and like I've had family members who've gone there, and they say that the store owners on their street will go outside every morning before they open up, and they will clean the streets themselves to make sure that everything's clean and nice when people come. So that just feels like such a, Japanese culture thing. Like, oh, of course there's trash on the ground. I'm going to pick it up and put it in the trash can. Now, why do you have to do that to ride the rides? I don't know. I'm not making a connection there, but that seems very, very Japanese culture.
Yeah, I like that. I like that connection. You can't ride rides till you've cleaned up enough of the park, and I mean you gotta pick up a lot of trash.
Really?
It's not just like 5 pieces that you stumbled across. It's like you need to be hunting for this trash so you can get on the Jaws ride. It's crazy.
Stupid. That's crazy.
So this was this game was giving me nausea. So it has. Oh, hang on, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me finish talking about the gameplay.
The trash.
The first ride is free, so I did get to play one ride, and it was the Jaws ride. And they're these rides are like 2 minutes long, tops, and they're not rides at all. Basically, they are a mini game based on the movie loosely, right? So the Jaws
Right.
one, I'm the kid. I'm still this like 8-year-old kid, but now I'm on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and Jaws is coming at the boat, biting off pieces of the boat, and you
No, man.
have to you have to pick up a barrel from the boat and throw it at Jaws, and you got to do
No.
that like 6 times or something until he's dead.
Is the Jaws music playing in the background? Because no, absolutely
I,
not.
I think it was, so good on
No.
them for getting that at least.
No, sir.
So there's all these rides. There's E.T., Jurassic Park, Back to the
Yep.
Future. I don't even know what Backdraft is, Hannah.
Never heard of that in my life.
Okay, and then Waterworld, which I imagine no one playing this game at the age of 5 had ever heard of Waterworld. I know what Waterworld is,
I do
but
too.
like, come on, like it's just such a weird inclusion. I don't
That's
know.
like that stupid 6-hour movie, right? It's so
Yeah,
long.
it is really long. I know that.
Yeah, no, that doesn't exist anymore. Thank God.
So you get these. Apparently, they're all bad. I watched gameplay on the rest of them. They're like, Angry Video Game Nerd has a video about this. So this is a pretty like famous game, famously bad game. They all look like just terrible mini games, and so you put in all this work picking up garbage around the freaking theme park just to play these garbage games. Can you imagine renting this game and just like being so pissed off?
No. And it just another thing, the cover of the game is ridiculous. Like it's like where are the words? I know where the words are, but it's not like there, it's not in the center. It's like off to the side, covered by a freaking dinosaur. Like what even is this?
If you're not driving, I would encourage you to to look up the cover art for this game. It is very strange, and if you don't look at the spine, you really don't know that this is a video game. I mean, it says
Yeah.
GameCube on the top. You don't know what the name of this game is, though. It's really weird.
No, it's very strange. And then I will say, I mean, basically the game is just a giant advertisement for the parks, right? So it's like, whatever. But at the end, I don't know if you found this as well, but if you collect all the stamps, you're gifted with a CG video capturing everything that you can do at the park. So it's literally just another ad inside of an ad. It's like, hey, look what you can do at the park if you actually go. It's called
real
Hollywood
park?
Magic. Yeah, it's called Hollywood Magic.
Well, that's kind of neat.
It is neat, but it's just an ad inside of an ad inside of an ad.
I wonder
Awesome.
if this game was like $20. Like, I wonder if it was just like basically free or something, because it's so bad. They couldn't have expected someone to spend 40, $50 on this.
No, yeah, I don't know. But
So I mean, I haven't even talked about the nauseating part, but like the camera, you're just thrown. I mentioned you're just thrown into this freaking theme park. The camera is like those classic PS1 like survival horror games where you're just like, you're moving, the camera's not moving. The camera's like here, and you're just like moving
Static,
around
yeah.
the world, and then you have to figure out where the edge of the screen is so you can go to the next screen area, whatever. And
oh God.
and it's like you move to the next screen, and you might be covered by like 40 NPCs. You can't even see yourself, and it's like,
Oh no.
where the heck am I?
Oh no. Oh,
It's
how
really
do you
bad.
see the trash?
Yeah. Yeah,
you
that's
find
another
the
thing.
trash?
Before reading the manual, I didn't know you had to pick up trash. But once I
Right.
figured out you had
Why
to pick
would
up
ya?
trash, it's like it's very hard to see the trash. And there's like other crap you can pick up on the ground, but it's very tough to see because of the bad camera. You know, did you ever play like a DVD game? You know how like
Yes.
you would have like, yeah, this is like something that probably could have just been on a DVD, like as a bonus feature with your special edition of Jurassic Park. Like,
With the remote.
this is not
yes.
something that needed to be on a console. It's really awful.
Well, here's an idea, Universal. Next time you do this, which I hope you never do, just put it on your DVDs of like your releases of your movies.
Exactly.
Of all the movies, how many DVDs did you think they sold in this time? They could have just done that versus having people buy this game for it to be the biggest meme 20 years later.
Even like looking at the cover art, like we were just talking about, it looks like it was just supposed to be like shrink wrapped to the back of a DVD you're buying. It's so weird.
Man, I wonder if that's what they actually meant to do, and then Nintendo was like, "Hey, you want to put this on as a launch title for Europe?" Just kidding. Dang, that's crazy.
I was getting nauseous playing this game. Fun facts, don't play it. It was GameCube exclusive, and but until Batman Dark Tomorrow came out, it was the worst rated GameCube game.
God.
It deserves worse than a 39.
Yeah, I mean, especially when your whole thing is picking up trash. That's crazy. That is absolutely wild.
It's like, before I read the manual, I'm like wandering around. First of all, it is hard to, okay, you get a map at the beginning of the game. It's like Pokemon Gen 1. You can it's an option to pick up the map. So I missed it. I didn't even know you could get a map. So I'm like wandering around this horrible, like, freaking theme park, and I'm lost. I'm trying to find E.T. or Back to the Future or whatever, and it's just like to finally find one and then realize that I can't get in, and Woody Woodpecker's just like, hey, there's a long line, you can't get in. I'm like, can I wait? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't get in?
Oh man, that's
Woody
hilarious.
Woodpecker didn't mention having to pick up trash.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Okay, I do actually have some fun facts. So, if you've ever been to Universal, like I said, they're very proud of their legacy, and so they still like honor their older things released in like the 40s and the 50s. So some other characters you can see are Frankenstein, classic, right? Creature, as in the creature from the Black Lagoon. Chilly Willy, which is that cute little cartoon penguin. He's been around since 1953. And then Wolfman, star of a movie Universal put out in 1941. They're like still super proud of him. They have him basically featured in like it's like I can't remember what it's called. It's like a horror show, whatever, costume horror, whatever. And so they kind of bring out like Wolfman and like the animatronics and stuff that they use for that movie. So super proud of their stuff. But I just thought that was a cool little nod.
Well, that's cool.
So yeah, so you're saying you should play it.
I'm looking at Woody Woodpecker. This dude is from the 40s, man.
Yep.
Voice acted by Mel Blanc. Or Blank or whatever from Looney Tunes fame.
There you go. He's a classic.
He had his own show from 1957 to 1997.
Whoa!
113 episodes over 5 seasons.
Dang.
And then the new Woody Woodpecker show came out in 1999 to 2002 on Fox Kids. So what you're saying is I was the prime audience at like 6 years old. I could have been watching Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah, I've seen the Woody Woodpecker show, but it wasn't like my favorite, obviously. But I feel like I saw the old one. I don't know if I ever saw the new one. I'm sure that shit was on replay,
Right.
reruns for forever. Like my dad, I'm sure, was watching that.
Right. He had a cameo on Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988.
Oh, he's been around the block.
Apparently, in 2018, it got a YouTube series. Like, from 2018 to 2022.
Interesting.
Anyways, that's Woody Woodpecker.
And that concludes the Woody Woodpecker segment of this episode.
Hang on, there was a 2017 film. All right, now we're done.
Okay. Boom. Done.
What are we talking about here? We're on to our 5th game here. Let's talk about Tetris Worlds, Hannah. This is a game that I grew up on. I loved it as a kid. I mean, I'll go ahead and give a little nostalgic throwback here for you guys. I got a GameCube. It got my games on it for my it was like Christmas or birthday gift. And it was before Star Fox Adventures came out. I remember that. And my dad was like, hey, this game looks pretty awesome. You should, what do you think about this one? And Star Fox Adventures looked pretty awesome. And he was like, you should probably also get Tetris Worlds for your mom. You guys can play that one together.
Oh.
She really likes Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got both. I remember getting Tetris Worlds and Star Fox Adventures, and I played Tetris Worlds a lot with my mom as a youngster. And honestly, I think it was my first Tetris. I had a Super Nintendo, I had an N64, and I had a GameCube, and I'm sure Tetris was widely available on the Super Nintendo and on the N64, but
Right.
I didn't have a lot of games on those consoles, and Tetris Worlds was, I don't know, it was probably a lot of people's first if you were like in the right age range. But yeah, this game got a whopping 47 on Metacritic. It got a 44 on PS2, and it did better on Xbox and GBA, coming in at 53 and 65.
Wow.
But yeah, give us a little background on Tetris Worlds.
So, there are actually 3 versions of this game. Don't know if you knew that. There's the PC and PS2 versions, which were developed by Blue Planet Software. The GameCube and the Xbox versions were developed by Radical Entertainment. Radical is known for Crash Bandicoot, Simpsons, The Hulk. That's them. And then the GBA version was developed by 3D6 Games. So, if you've played Tetris Worlds, chances are you might have played a different version than somebody else. All versions, though, were published by THQ. This was THQ's first Tetris game under the license from the Tetris Company. They would also go on to publish Tetris Advance for the Game Boy Advance, Tetris Elements for Windows and Mac, and then Tetris Evolution for the Xbox 360. So literally Tetris was everywhere. So it really begs the question why the heck this one was so bad. But it released in June of 2002.
I want to clarify that Radical Entertainment did not develop like the OG Crash games.
Right. Right.
But probably, I don't know which ones they did, but probably some of the later ones.
Well, I know for sure they did Simpsons Hit and Run, which is the best one.
When did it come out? Tetris World?
2002.
Okay. So this is an interesting game that actually came with a story. Basically, you have to save the race. You open up this game with this crazy cutscene before hitting the start button. It's like a minute and a half long, and you're like, it's just like you're in like a giant auditorium or like an outdoor auditorium. I don't know what you would call that.
Mm-hmm.
You got like
An
your
amphitheater.
leader. There we go. You got your leader in the middle, and it's just surrounded by all the people, quote unquote people, that are the citizens of this planet that you're on. And it's like an emergency meeting, and the people I'm talking about are called Minos, as in Tetraminos.
Yep.
They are, or Tetraminos, that's how you pronounce it. They are the Minos, is the race of people.
Cute.
And they're not cute at all. They're actually kind of creepy in my opinion.
Oh.
They're all like squares with an eyeball. And they're all just like listening to the leader, and he's telling them, hey, the planet's about to be destroyed. The sun is about to go supernova. It's about to run out of hydrogen, and we got to do something. We got to evacuate right now. This is the most serious story for a Tetris game ever. I'm wondering if they were considering making this game like rated E10 plus or something. It's ridiculous.
Scary.
No, I'm being a little dramatic. It's fully voice acted, this cutscene, and you get to pick which Mino you play as, and it does absolutely nothing for the gameplay.
Nice.
I don't think Tetris needs a story, but I think that it was like a nice addition. Honestly, like it didn't hurt to have it, and it was kind of interesting. Let's talk about the visuals, though. The visuals are pretty nice. You actually get some pretty sweet backgrounds while you're playing Tetris. There's like volcanoes, there's underwater caverns, ice caps, all kinds of stuff.
Ooh.
The Tetraminos are all three-dimensional. The actual, not the race of Minos, but the Tetraminos are 3D, and they have like, depending on the planet or area that you're at, like they have like this reflective visual effect going on the actual blocks which is nice to look at, but it can be a little confusing, I think, when you're playing. It can be a little distracting.
Right.
So I think that there's actually a way to make them like flat colors instead. There's techno music. Did you watch any gameplay?
I did, but I didn't listen to the music, which I know I should have.
Oh, that's
Missed
okay.
out.
The music is actually bumping. Like, it is techno, and it's never just like the same song on repeat. It's like they have
Yeah.
some serious song selection going on, and like you definitely want to have the music on while you're playing.
Now that is something that should have been carried over to the other games, because I played Puyo Puyo Tetris a lot, and it's the same. It's the same two songs over and over again.
You should play Tetris Effect. That game is incredible.
Is it? Oh, man.
That game was like focused on the music. Oh yeah, this part is weird. So like, I don't know, the whole thing feels very futuristic, maybe dystopian a little bit. And every time you clear a line, there's this whisper. It's a woman's voice. It should be like single. Like single, triple, Tetris. Like, it's really weird.
I hate it. Mm-mm.
And it really adds to this whole like aesthetic that they have going on. It's very strange, but it feels very 2000s, honestly. But yeah, we can talk about the gameplay. I feel like I've been talking a lot. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can. So I have some things here. So the game consists of regular Tetris, which, everyone knows Tetris, and if you don't, sorry, buddy, you're a little behind. There are a few modes to kind of like change up the gameplay a little bit. So there's story mode, which you talked about. And then there's arcade mode, which has a bunch of different versions of Tetris. So there's regular Tetris, there's square Tetris, where the player must combine tetraminos into a square, which is a variant that originated in the new Tetris on the Nintendo 64, which I didn't know. There's Cascade Tetris, Sticky Tetris, Hotline Tetris, and Fusion Tetris. And then the Game Boy Advance actually has its own, but I didn't write it. But I did remember that from research.
Yeah.
And now I've heard that now let me know if you know what I'm talking about. There's like an easy spin mode where you can kind of like infinitely move the tetraminos. Even as it gets to the bottom, you can keep clicking it and rotating it until it kind of fits into the spot that you want. And I've heard from the critics, they said that it was kind of game breaking and kind of ruined the whole thing. Because like if you can keep moving the piece forever, then you'll never like it's harder to get into like these dire situations where you're like, oh shoot, I placed that wrong. Now I have to correct. Is that true? Did you find that to be the case?
I'm no expert at Tetris, but yes, that is absolutely true.
So apparently, depending on the version that you get, it either has it in it, but the GameCube or the Xbox version is apparently optional to do it. So
Interesting.
I don't know. I feel like the only people who are complaining about that are hardcore Tetris fans. They're like, I couldn't beat the back of the controller and make the thing move, so I hate it.
I don't know. If I spent more time with it, I might have a different feeling on it, because I get what you're saying. It could just be game breaking. I played a lot last night I played like 30 minutes last night, and it took me a long time to lose. And I guess that's probably part of it. But yeah, if I was like hardcore Tetris, I could see that being annoying. It just like makes it so easy that it's no longer fun. It's interesting you can turn it off though. It's like they knew it was a problem.
Yeah, well, I think people complained about it. I don't know. It doesn't seem terrible to me, because like a lot of people don't play Tetris because they think it's too hard or like it's too fast or they get like too flustered. So I feel like this is just a good kind of introductory mode for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's actually not even a mode. It's like it's in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But interesting. I do have a fun fact. The game had a development budget of $2 million.
The advertising budget.
A marketing budget, yeah, of $2 million.
Yeah, that's crazy. And the game released on a lot of platforms, like we said, and it actually had it had a box variant. So like you can find a completely different cover art for the PS2 and Game Boy Advance versions. Same game, but that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that.
I do want to talk about the gameplay a little bit more. So there is a 2-minute timer counting down. This is for all of the 6 variations you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a goal and you have a timer. And I don't fully understand it, even after Googling, but I think that you only progress the story if you reach the goal during that 2-minute time frame. So if you don't, then you go into overtime. It's not like you get game over. It's like you keep playing, but the game will speed up, and now you have to repeat the previous goal at a like it like penalties you for not doing it in 2 minutes, and so now it's faster and you still are on the previous goal.
Huh.
And I think it has to do with how many minos that you're saving, like from this planetary destruction.
Right.
I think that's what it is, but I don't know. It's a little stressful having the timer right there. Like
Yeah, I
if
don't
you're
like
just
that.
playing regular Tetris, you're trying to clear like 50 lines in 2 minutes, and you have to, they start counting down with the whispering woman again in your ear, trying
Right.
to like
Right.
get you to hurry up and get this goal accomplished. So there's that. I do want to talk about these variations though. So we talked about Tetris, we talked about Square, um, but there's also Cascade, which is fun because it's a lot like other puzzle games, where like match 3 games, where you get cascades by clearing lines and then like causing blocks to fall underneath and like fill the empty voids. These are going to be kind of
Right.
hard to describe just like without a picture, but if you like have an empty void underneath your tetraminos,
Yep. That's right.
then like a cascade is by clearing a line and then having some additional pieces fall down and fill those voids and clear more lines. So that one's
Oh.
cool. There's fusion, which is you have to activate these atom blocks that you're given. Hang on, you have these certain blocks that are called atom blocks falling from the top of the screen, and then you have to actually connect
Mm-hmm.
them to this fusion block in the middle at the bottom of your screen. So just another gameplay mode.
Yep.
Sticky. This one's cool because blocks of the same color stick together. Once you get 25
Ooh.
stuck together, they clear from the screen. Your goal is to clear the bottom line. Tougher than it sounds.
Huh. Sounds tough.
And then this one is neat. Hotline is where you have 6 hotlines on your matrix, right? So, you got your rectangle of
Right.
where you put your tetraminos, and on this rectangle you've got a few lines towards like the top half of the screen. And the higher you let these blocks get, if you clear a line on that hotline, that's the only way to score points. And the higher the line,
Oh.
the more points you get.
Yeah. So you
So
have to keep building it up and risk what? Running out of room or what?
exactly, yeah.
Ooh. Scary.
So it's a single player game on the story mode. You have these 6 variations, which represent like the 6 worlds that you go to, I guess. And so each variation, like you have one world per variation. So it's not like you can just play Tetris, regular Tetris, and get through the story mode. You have to like learn how to play all of these modes, all these variations. And it's cool. Like you can get high scores and stuff, and that's what Tetris is all about at the end of the day, is high scores. There's also the arcade mode you mentioned, which is up to 4 players. Try to see how many lines you can clear in 2 minutes or whatever, against your friends or by yourself. I think what I read, I've played some Tetris in my day. Not really the original Tetris, not really pre-Tetris Worlds Tetris, but I've played some post-Tetris Worlds Tetris.
Right.
As far as I know, you've always been able to push up to slam the bricks down, the tetraminos.
Yep.
I think I read that this was the first game where this was a thing. And I
Oh.
feel like that was a win. Like it, instead of having to hold down, I guess, to push the blocks down, or worse, you're just waiting for them to fall. Like,
Right.
I don't
Line
know.
by line.
It seems like a plus for this game.
Yeah.
But
that's
yes.
interesting. I didn't know that.
You brought up the endlessly spinning Tetramino. I think that is possibly a negative to this game. Does it deserve to be a 47 on the GameCube? Absolutely not. It is. This is Tetris at the end of the day, and if anything, it's giving you more options. It's giving you more games to play. And if, like you're saying, you can turn the endless spinning off, like, that is a freaking win. I'm wondering now if the variations in the box arts actually included updates where you could turn that off.
Oh.
That would be interesting to research.
That's a thought, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about this. I played it again last night because I just wanted to see what was so bad about this game to earn it getting less than a 50, and it just doesn't seem like a deal breaker. 7 out of 10 maybe. Like, it's Tetris with multiple game modes. It expanded upon something that already worked. It's not like they removed features here. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, that's weird. Is there any other Tetris game on the GameCube, or is this it?
This is the only one.
Well, it seems like a good option then if it's the only one.
I agree.
Weird.
They had to keep it alive. They couldn't just take the Game Boy Tetris and put it on the GameCube. Like, they had to keep changing things, adding things.
Right.
And I don't think they added things for the worse. The Xbox version had an online mode that apparently people, like, brought Xbox Live servers back on in 2022, and now you can play this game online again if you're into that.
That's exciting.
Also worth noting, the game had in 2003 it started getting packed in with the Xbox. So they have like this double disc situation where you would get Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Tetris Worlds, I think on one disc packed in with your console.
That's really cool. So it wasn't Xbox liked it. They're like, yeah, why not?
Right, exactly.
This is our Wii Sports.
Any final thoughts, Hannah?
No, I think I like original Tetris, but I also like Puyo Puyo Tetris. I think that's a really cool kind of mashup of those two games. I think this one looks fine. I think Tetris gets boring after a while. And when I say boring, I mean I get angry because I'm so bad at it sometimes, especially when I play Tetris 99. So, like, the other modes seem fun. Are they the best variations? You know, maybe not. I'm sure there's other games that do it better. Tetris Effect probably does. But, like, this one seems fine.
Yeah.
It seems lovely. If I would ever pick it up, then sure, I would absolutely play it.
I want to try the GBA version, I think. It got the highest score, and, you know, GBA Tetris on the Go is definitely a good way to have Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, I did finally pre-order that Switch collection of Tetris games. So,
yeah? When is it going to get there? 2 years from now?
Probably. It's available digitally if you're, like, listening to this and craving some Tetris, but this physical is coming from limited run, so I don't know when it's coming.
Probably 8 years from now. It'll be 40.
That's it. What's the best game here, Hannah?
Well, I mean, Tetris is obviously, that's a great one. How could you say otherwise? But Yu-Gi-Oh, honestly, to me, would be interesting.
If I had to sit down and play through one, I guess Tetris. But I think Donald Duck's PK Out of the Shadows seemed like a decent enough game. I don't want anything to do with Universal. I don't want to play freaking, what was this game that I was just looking at? Space Raiders. I'm good on Space Raiders. And I don't think I could sit through Yu-Gi-Oh, but you know, if you had an emulator, a lot of people are playing emulated GameCube games these days. You can fast forward that crap to 4x speed and probably make it way more bearable, you know?
Yep. I agree.
But that was a short episode right there. We're done.
Well, for now, we get to talk about Xenoblade.
Yeah, I'm excited. Do you have any news you want to talk about?
I do. I have quite a bit of news, actually.
All right.
So, we have the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct is less than 2 weeks away. I think you said it was 9 days away. That sounds about right. I'm excited. Are you excited? We talked about it a little bit.
Absolutely.
But I am so excited. Let's see. 4 new Super Nintendo games. were added to NSO. We got Nobunaga's Ambition, Nobunaga's Ambition Lord of Darkness, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 4, Wall of Fire, and Uncharted Water New Horizons, which I looked them all up just to see, what they were. Nobunaga's Ambition, is it's an RPG, strategy, not my thing. And then Romance of the Three Kingdoms, it's kind of the same thing, tactical RPG. But Uncharted Water New Horizons is a simulation RPG. It's like pirates and sailing the seven seas, and that one sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, I would check that out with you. That would be a fun one to experience.
I don't know. I'm sure it's not multiplayer, but it might be. But doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But seems super interesting. Also, the Seattle Mariners jerseys will now have a Nintendo and a Switch 2 logo on them starting in 2 days for the opener this year. Fun fact, and actually I think it would be kind of cool to do like part of our collabs episode, like Nintendo collaborations. Nintendo of America actually owned majority of the baseball team back in 1992. Apparently they saved the team from having to be moved down here to Tampa, which I think is interesting. They saved baseball up there because they're HQ'd in Redmond, Washington, so it's obviously in the same state. But they did sell pretty much everything except for 10%, of which they still own today. So they're really cool about like advertising Nintendo's stuff in their stadium, which I think is fascinating. So neat.
That is cool.
So that they have a giant, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but it's a giant Nintendo logo on their sleeve.
Right, yeah.
It's really cool. Also, Nintendo San Francisco is opening up later this year on May 15th. That'll be exciting. So we have one in New York, and now we're going to have one across the coast, across the whole United States, in San Francisco, which is interesting. We have some more Nintendo Lego collaborations. Mario Kart is getting a new Lego set, also coming in May. And then they also teased a Game Boy collab in October. So that's pretty exciting. You got to see the Game Boy logo X Lego, which was pretty cool. And just another random fun thing that I haven't seen yet, despite the fact that I live close to an airport, is Nintendo collaborated with JetBlue. And so JetBlue has Mario and Yoshi and Luigi and all them, like it's a fun wrap around the entire plane. It kind of looks like Mario, and then we're looking out the plane window, so it's really neat. So we'll see if we see that flying around in the air.
Speaking of Lego, they also did Pokemon. We got an announcement for that.
Yes, they did. And then I was going to write things about the Pokemon Direct, but honestly, there was really nothing there besides, hey, Pokemon the Z to A, it's coming. Eventually.
That's all I remember from that as well. I don't think I even watched it. I just saw the recap.
No, I watched it because I thought something really, really cool would come out. Nope, alas. Not a thing.
You been buying anything for the collection?
Well, I bought Yu-Gi-Oh, of course. I bought Xenoblade Chronicles X. I bought Balatro, which I have yet to play because I'm obsessed with another card game. And I believe that's it.
I hope you like Balatro. That game's awesome.
I know, I'm excited, but I gotta get through Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I gotta get through some of the games in Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I could become obsessed with another card game.
I think you get some physical cards with that one too.
You do. They're
Very
in
cool.
a cool little packet.
You know what else is news? Nintendo Gold points are cooked. They're done. I got on my Nintendo last night at like midnight, and it was like, hey, we're down for maintenance. So those are gone. I had 30 unspent points. I could have saved 30 cents on something.
Dang. Well, it also doesn't make sense because I thought you would still be able to use them a year. Like, you can still claim gold points, was from what I was understanding. Is if a game came out yesterday, I guess, because today's the 25th, you could still claim those gold points for a year and use them. But maybe they rescinded that. I don't know.
You're probably right. I did see something about it from that Nintendo Twitter account.
I'd say I want to use. I just claimed 60 cents and then 50 more cents for Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's like, got $1. Got $1.10 I got to use.
You ever heard of Ultimate Muscle?
No, I don't know what that is.
It's an anime that was on like Fox Kids, I think, when we were kids.
Oh.
I don't know. I've never heard of it, but it's a GameCube game. It's expensive, and I just bought that. So that's what I've added to the collection.
Ooh.
Um, Other than that, I haven't buying too much because I'm still looking for a job. And it was also my birthday this month, and you sent me the most glorious Luigi's Mansion
Let's
3
see it.
statue
Yay!
that I love
Yeah!
so much. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. You're welcome. It took forever.
It's
to
a
get there.
beautiful 9-inch PVC first 4-figure statue.
Yep.
And I love that game. I need to replay that game. I'm happy to have Luigi's Mansion 3 statue up there.
Well, me and you are both very backlogged for games, so I was like, okay, I'll need to get you something that's not a game that you're gonna enjoy, and you say you don't ever spend money on like statues or like collectibles or anything like that because you're too busy, completing your GameCube collection and buying $1,000 games. So I was like, okay, that'll work. That's a cool one.
That was a great one. I love it so much. And speaking of backlogs, I got Spider-Man 2 for my birthday. Finally, because I guess I got a PS5. That's another one that I can mention.
It's kind of a little bigger.
My parents split a PS5 for me, which is incredible. I appreciate them, and it's actually a PS5 Slim. I didn't realize until like a couple days after.
Wow.
It doesn't say it anywhere on the box. You just have to know your PS5s, I guess.
Is it digital or disc?
It's disc. Don't be silly, Hannah.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm just making sure, parents, they're not super with it.
Very true. Yeah, it's cool. So 2 Point Museum, I probably talked about a little bit last month. It didn't come out until this month.
A lot of it.
Oh my gosh, you're so mean.
Just kidding.
I need you to pretend to be interested in my hobbies,
right.
Hannah.
Sorry.
2 Point Museum didn't come out until this month, and so they didn't release it physical on Xbox. And I was like, well, I might get a PS5 for my birthday. Let me just go ahead and wait. Turns out I got a PS5 for my birthday, so I spent the extra $10 to get the physical on PS5. Nice. And yeah, we can go into games I've been playing. I freaking love it. They didn't just like copy and paste the campus game into Museum. They actually they did some new stuff with it. You're running this museum, but you have to hire people to go and find fossils and find aquarium life. And so you have to go like spend money on that and make sure that they don't get like lost at the top of a mountain or like, get killed out on their expeditions and stuff. And
right.
Yeah, there's like a lot of quality of life improvements, and it plays really well. And I'm excited. I'm very early in that game still, but I'm really happy that that's out. I'm really happy it's not disappointing or anything. It's a great game.
That's good. What is it? How does it stack up against the other ones?
Still haven't played the first one. It's great. It's probably better than Campus, honestly. So far, that's my review.
Okay, nice. Love it. I love your hobbies. I love museums.
Thank you. And I guess if you haven't played anything else, we can get into the big one.
Yeah. So I tempted my friend here to play Xenoblade Chronicles X, which, I'm just kidding. He was like, hey, you want me to play it with you? And I said, well, hell yeah, dude. Of course I do. So I obviously have played all the other ones. This one is so vastly different than the other ones. It's crazy. And obviously you would know because you haven't really played the other ones. But this one is more... I mean, the other ones are obviously super into combat, but this one, like, it actually matters what weapon you use, kind of where you're standing, where the enemy is, blah, 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 blah. And also exploration is a bigger one in this one. The map is absolutely huge, right? You can jump on anything. You can climb on anything, which is not something you can do the other games. So it's very different. So I'm interested to see what your opinion is. Because I know what the other ones are, but you don't. So I know how it compares.
I guess for the sake of the audience, we're doing a podcast here, I will repeat some of the stuff I texted you the other night, but it seems like the game is... I mean, first of all, it's like 2.5 hours worth of like introductory tutorial sequence and stuff and just like learning about the game. But after that, my impression so far, I'm 5.5 hours in, is that you are unleashed into this open world, and you have access to a lot, almost the whole world. I mean, it looks like there's multiple regions. So you have access to this first region, and you can just go explore, do whatever the heck you want, go fight whatever you want. Even if they're like way higher level than you, you have the ability to go fight, level 50 monsters.
Yep.
And your goal is like whenever you're ready and you've acquired like the right people and the right level, you can go and progress the story. I think the first one you have to be level 12, and you have to go. Oh, you also have to go explore like 15% of the region, and then that's your first requirement to go progress the story. So while you're doing that, you can go do side quests. You can go find like broken pieces of the ship and go like research them or whatever, where you mash the A button, and like you literally can go explore wherever you want. And that seems like it's probably going to be the cycle for the whole game.
Yep.
I'm intrigued. The story is interesting. I think it's really cool the way that they have like made this guy lose his memory or girl, and you guys were chased off of Earth and you had to evacuate. You're stuck in space for a couple of years. It's all very interesting stuff. I'm liking it so far. How are you liking it?
I don't know. It's hard because obviously it's made by the same developers, so it follows some of the same kind of road work. But it feels, it doesn't feel as like character oriented. Like I know you can make your own character, which is something you can't do in the other ones. So obviously, your character is kind of. They don't really talk. It's very much like a Link situation. You kind of like put yourself in that character, which is fine. But I like the cool intricacies and like the uniqueness, the quirkiness of all the other characters that you kind of meet. And I haven't really gotten that so much in this one. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing. Also, exploration, I like in this one a little bit better because, like I said, you can jump on literally anything and climb from anything. Like, I literally jumped up a waterfall to get to a place that I couldn't find how to get to otherwise. And the other games, you can jump like maybe 6 inches off the ground. Not a thing. I like the whole everything is open to you from the very beginning, which is kind of the same in the other ones, but not really. Obviously, you can't explore every area because I'm a level 12. And like in this area over here is like all level 50. So I get my ass squashed. The whole revive thing is interesting. So there's like a time countdown after you die. You're depending on the TP points of your other characters, they can revive you, but it's usually never high enough. So usually there's like a 30-second countdown, and then you restart from where you last saved, or the game last autosave for you, which is new. That's not a thing in the other one. I don't know. It's different. It's not... I don't know. It's so hard to explain. This one's like not as upbeat and like kind of fun. It's more serious and more like... you're kind of just on your own kind of deal, if that makes sense. But I still like it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm certainly going to play as soon as we finish here today.
So, is the combat the same?
No, not even close. So, in the other ones, it's more sword-based, which I enjoy better. This one, you can switch between guns, which is your ranged weapon, and kind of swords or long swords or short swords, whatever. In the other ones, it's all sword-based. Like, obviously, in Xenoblade 1, you have the Monado, which is, like, your main weapon. Then in 2, you can kind of switch your blades, so you have a partner blade behind you who, like, manifests their essence into a blade and kind of supports you from there, but you're still using a blade, and you can switch those out. This one is, like I said, guns and blades, and I like that a little bit less, because I feel like in the other ones, you can just kind of turn off I have to have a ranged weapon for this, I have to have this for this, to do this and this and this and this. You don't have to move around quite as much in the other one. And auto attacks, they're a little faster, which I like. I don't know, it's just different. And then usually you can kind of switch, like in the second one, like I said, you can kind of switch between the blades. This one, you're stuck between that ranged weapon and that one, unless you change your class, which is kind of similar to 3, but like not really. So I don't know, it's same. It's like the same chocolate, if you will, if you're comparing these to like candy bars. Like one of them is just plain chocolate, right? One of them's got almonds in it, right? One of them's got like those little crispy rices in it. It's the same like base, but then there's a little bit extra.
The other
If that
three
makes
are
sense.
pretty similar, and then this one is the one-off, right?
Yes, and as far as I can tell, the story is they're not even remotely related. It's a cool little nod though. I don't know about in the Wii U game, but the young girl, like the 13-year-old, the mechanic, whatever, she has a
Yeah.
pin in her hair, and it's the Monado.
I saw that.
Which I thought was interesting. So I don't know if they changed that for this one or if it's in the original too. So there's like little nods to the other ones, but I don't think they're related in story at all.
I would like to Google like what the differences are between the Wii U. I'm playing on the Wii U. We didn't mention that. I would like to
Yeah.
see what the definitive editions are. I've been texting you and a friend, and like it sounds like there's probably more tutorial, which I need.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe a lot of this is just like you've played the other 3 games to death and you know how to play,
Yeah.
and that's great. But like this was only the second game in the series to come out. Like
Yeah.
I don't know anything, and there's a lot of stuff that's very basic that I have to text you or could Google, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the heck do you do this? Like I asked you how to heal the other day,
Yeah.
and one of those things on the little attack bar is something I can activate to start auto healing.
Yep.
Everything's been easy since then. I just had no idea that was a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. It wasn't super explained. I mean, even I'm 11 hours in and I just texted you about it the other day. Not healing, but it was something else that you texted me. And it's like, oh, yeah. About like following exactly what the arts say. Like it says, this attack from behind will blah, 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 blah. It like just gave me that in 11 hours. And it's like, well,
Wow.
that would have been useful 10 hours ago. So it's that the delivery of information is not very good. I can say that for I think all the games. But it's such a hard thing to kind of deliver so much information, text box after text box after text box. It was like Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
When we played that, it was just like bam, 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 all this information like right up front. So it's hard to do well, I think. But this one does it fairly well. And then of course, if you go in the menu, there's like pages and pages and pages and pages of like information that you can all read. So it's not like it's not there. You just have to look for it. But I think you're right about me just kind of innately knowing how to do it because I've done it. This is my 4th time now. It's very similar.
I had something else I wanted to bring up. Oh, I'm excited about the freaking mechs. I'm excited to be in a Skell. That's new.
So I don't know when that comes in. It is new and it isn't new. Like you being in one is new, but like the idea of them always kind of being there is not new. So I'm interested for that. I don't know if everyone gets to do it or you have to pick that class, or not the class, but that job alignment, if you will. I can't remember what they call it. So I don't know.
I Googled beforehand because I didn't want to miss out on driving a Skell, and
Right.
I believe no matter what you pick, you're still going to be able to get in one.
Cool.
I also think that picking the class might be like 95% of what that influences is just like online based stuff. Like it barely affects your story, is my understanding.
Yeah. I'm about to say, because you can change it at any point. So,
every time I turn the Wii U version on, they're like, hey, just a freaking reminder, idiot. This thing is not online. You cannot play online. Like, they freaking fill my screen with it.
Yeah, that's funny. Because mine is like, hey, did you know you can play this one online? That's funny. Like, I would love to, but the person I'm playing with is on the Wii U, so unfortunately, you can't.
I'm sure you can't play with random people.
I actually have no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. I'm sure you can.
Well, as long-time listeners know, this is a long one for old Christian to be playing through.
Yeah,
we'll
he's
see.
used to like hour and a half gameplay.
I was expecting 3 hours and like giving it a fair college try and just being like, all right, Hannah, this isn't for me. But no, I'm enjoying it. So I'm going to keep playing.
Yay. Good to hear, because this, in my opinion... Go ahead. I was going to say, this would not be the one that I would recommend for someone to play.
Right.
But I feel like you would like it more because it's more free than the other ones. The other ones are kind of restrictive in what you can do.
I don't like being free, Hannah. I like linearity.
No. No. I think you enjoy the freeness of this one. Trust me.
Okay. What was I about to say? I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing. Oh, I can't tell you how badly. Like, I just got the game that I've been wanting to play for like 2 years, Spider-Man 2. I want to play it so bad, and it's only gonna be like 15 hours probably. But I'm
Dang.
sticking to Xenoblade right now. I'm sticking to, I already have 2 Point. I don't need to start juggling a bunch of freaking games. Thankfully, I don't think there's anything else I care about coming out this year. Like, 2 Point was my one game. And
Right.
we'll see what the Switch 2 has to offer. That'll certainly shake things up. But yeah, I'll try to keep playing Xenoblade, prioritizing it.
Well, I gotta say, it will not hurt my feelings if it's not your cup of tea, because it
Oh,
really
you're
is
good.
not everyone's cup of tea. And if you'd rather play Spider-Man 2, that's fine. You gave it a good try, and I appreciate that.
No, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I do wish we could play together. I don't even know what the online is like. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to hypothesize about it because I'm not going to buy the Switch version. So it'll just
Right.
make me sad to think about what could have been.
Right. It's not us adventuring together and taking down all these enemies and leveling up. Pfft, nah.
So far, it's better than Monster Hunter Rise, so I'll give you that one.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was so crazy how I loved that game for like a couple hours, and then after that I was like, this game sucks. It's like the same shit over and over again, and no matter what level I am, I still suck. So,
All right, you ready to wrap it up?
sure am.
Next episode, I'm going to try to release it. We're going to try to record and release it by April 14th. Why?
right.
Because if you remember, next month on April 13th, we are receiving season 2 of The Last of Us. So,
Yes.
Hannah and I have already completed The Last of Us, and we are going to be recording in the next couple of weeks to get you guys that episode. Hopefully, Monday, April 14th. And yeah, we will be watching the show. Try not to spoil us too hard because we have not played The Last of Us 2.
Right. Yeah, please don't. My god. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. What did you decide? Are you going to try to play the DLC?
Okay, well, here's the thing. So I am playing on my brother's old PS3 from our childhood, right? And so he's 30 years old. He's got a life, you know? He doesn't remember his freaking password or anything for that, so I can't access the DLC because I can't access the store because we're not logged in. And so I'm going to ask him to try to reset it, but I don't want it to mess with, like, the stuff that he already has because they have a cool game. I bought a game on there. I'm not going to say it just in case we do an episode on it. But, like, I played it the other day. So good. But, like, obviously you can't buy it anymore. It's gone. It's forever lost to time, right? It's one of those situations. So I don't want to mess with it too much. So we'll see. And if not, I might watch gameplay of it, which, you know, is not super interesting. But as far as I know, it's that content was covered in the show. So it's not like I don't know what happens.
Right, you're probably good.
But
I'm
I
gonna
would
try
like
to play
to.
it. I'm gonna try to play it, carve out 2 or 3 hours to get that done, just because it's already included with my PS4 version that I played. Yeah.
Me. The PS3 version. I gotta say though, the PS3 version is still great.
Good. I'm excited to
good.
hear about the differences and the 20 frames a second and everything.
Hey, come on now. Why do you say that?
All right. Thanks for joining us for this look at some really bad games and a little conversation about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Excited to talk about The Last of Us.
Me
I
too.
actually am
Super
really excited to
excited.
talk about that because we really didn't talk about it together too much.
No, we've been trying to save ourselves.
Where can the people follow you, Hannah?
Game Grill Advance SP on Instagram.
I'm at Bird Dog Gaming everywhere. We'll see you guys in April, hopefully April 14th, for another one.
See ya.